Welcome to the 2021-2022 School Financial Budget in Service. You'll see our agenda. You can follow along with us with the agenda. First, I want to do a quick introduction. Our budget department consists of Sabrina Harris, who is our Executive Director of Budget and Management Services. All of our phone numbers have been listed over to the right for you to contact us. Also, we have new with us is Joshua Young. He is our Director of Budget and Operations. In order to get to our manual, which is on the Budget Department Intranet page, you'll see a screenshot. If you follow along, it should be very easy for you to follow it. Should you have any difficulty, please just pick up the phone and call us, and we will be gladly walk you through it. Allotments, they're normally given at 75% of your estimated allotment and your projected enrollment. They will be adjusted after the 20th day based on the student enrollment numbers. Instructional allotments are given to schools in Fund 2. All other allotments, as you can see on this slide, for staff development, it is placed in PRC 028. And then we gave you a couple of examples in the middle of the page for professional development. Just remember, this is just a reminder. It's not the full training of the budget. In order for you to obtain that, contact us at any time and we'll gladly help you. These funds cannot be spent until allocated by the Professional Development Department. And then they're based on the number of teaching positions allotted to your school. These funds account will be lost if they are not spent to the prior deadline that is always found on your year-end memo. Please remember, federal funds codes begin with a 3 or a 9. Fund 3 account funding comes from the federal government and flows through DPI, also known as the Department of Public Instruction. Fund 9, it comes directly to CMS. Here, you'll learn how to read budget codes. You say, well, what is a budget code? A budget code is just a unique account identifier consisting of 5 components, and they're listed out. Fund 1, you'll see state funds. Fund 2, local or county. Fund 3, federal funds. And as you go down the list, you'll see those laid out. Also, the budget codes, when you're learning how to read them, we always indicate PRC, which basically is saying a program report code, and it designates a plan of activities or funding designated to accomplish a predetermined objective. And you see we have listed those for you down below. Also, a purpose code. Sometimes you'll hear us say purpose code. A purpose code just represents the reason or the purpose for which the funds are to be used. Purpose includes the activities or actions that are performed to accomplish specifics in the objectives. Also, you'll hear us mention objective code. The objective code is those last 3 digits of your budget code, and they represent the type of goods or services or commodity obtained as a result of a specific expenditures. Like you'll see, if you see any number beginning with 100, that means salary. So when you're reading your budget codes from left to right, you'll notice that. And here are some examples of what I'm talking about. As you see, Fund 1, the X's will always represent your location. So when you're filling out a budget request, you'll indicate in the location your school number. Like if your school is Albemarle Middle, you'll say 300, or Albemarle Elementary, you may say 301. And then you'll see we require your PRC, and it's all listed on the sheet for you below. Also, professional development. Professional development, you'll need a sub. If you need a sub, your last 3 numbers should end in 163. And then your school may do a workshop for the participants. Those are the individuals that's coming to the workshop. Their number will always end in a 196. The instructor, that's the person that will be teaching that class, will probably end in a 197. And always you're going to have Social Security. Social Security is known as FICA, F-I-C-A. And it's been stuck at 7.65% for years. So just wanted to let you know that. And here are some examples. In 1-300-060-5110-462, it says that 1 represents that is a state fund, and is used by Albemarle Road Elementary to purchase computer equipment. How do we know that's computer equipment? Because those last three numbers, 462, indicates to us that you're obtaining computer equipment. And you can go ahead and look at the rest of those. Here is a special report code. When CMS department or learning community purchases any items for schools, they have the budget code must show the school number, and all the expenses for the school must be shown at the school level. The department number is used as the report code, and you see it right there below. A budget transfer is required to move funds from the department level to the school level. This process provides accurate information on total funding used at both the school and the department level. A budget transfer. Here are some steps for the budget transfer. Please allow us 48 hours to process your budget transfer. That means when you send it, it may not get processed the first day due to the volume that's coming in. But just remember some budget transfer rules. Transfers may be either scanned or emailed to the budget transfer at CMS K-12 NC US. Or if you like, you can fax it to us. Place it in the carrier if you like, and make sure it's on blue paper. Just remember, do not scan it and put it in the mail to avoid duplications, because a duplication of a budget transfer could possibly cause your school to have a negative on that account line. Just remember that you need to use the transfer form when you're submitting it to us, and it'll require signatures. And also, you need to remember that the transfer form should be submitted only one fund per BT. Well, what does that mean? Simply, if you're taking funds out of one account, just put one on each line at a time. You can use the same sheet, but skip a couple lines. If that sounds confusing, just pick up the phone. We're here to help you at any time. It's just a reminder. And this is what a budget transfer looks like. And you see the form, you'll be working on the from side, which means I'm going to take money out of this budget, and I'm going to put money into this budget line on the to side. And just remember to indicate who is requested by and who is approved by. Now, let's do a quick review of some Lawson and budget overviews. The budget department can assist you with any budget codes, budget guidelines, and any issues within the realm of the budget department. The Lawson system should be used to research questions you have about your budget. For technical assistance, don't forget to call 343-2876. Helpful screens in Lawson available to all users, and they will be there for you to use at any time that you need them. And you may get a budget back. Well, why? Because it was used incorrectly. Refer to our allotment book that's online, or call us. We could return one because you have insufficient funds. You thought you had the money there, and you did, but guess what? An invoice came in that had to be paid, so unfortunately, that caused you to need a budget transfer. Whenever a person is doing a service contract, you need to make sure that you list the credentials of the presenter. That's the person that's coming into your school that is going to either do a workshop or work with the children. You also need to know that if the presenter is a former CMS employee, you must indicate that in your requisition comments. And also note that a CMS employee cannot be a vendor, not a current one anyway. So service contracts, whenever you're doing a service contract and individuals are coming in and they're going to be working with the students, make sure that you keep on file a copy of their certificate of liability should anything happen while they're on our premises. Also get a copy of their car insurance, and also make sure if they have more than 3 employees that they have workers' compensation. School to pay requisition. All service and paper contract requisitions in excess of $1,000 require the following information, and you need to make sure that these comments are always printed on the header in the requisition. And for field trips, you always need to remember you have to have a plan how the funds are to be collected for the field trip. Make sure you include the date that you're going to be collecting those funds, and then make sure you make some comments in the requisition about that. School to pay budget code, we've listed it for you. It's down at the bottom of this slide. It'll start with 11. Here are some simple guidelines for the traveling. Whenever someone is leaving and traveling, whether they're traveling inside North Carolina or they're traveling outside of North Carolina, you may need these forms filled out. We talk about the expense report, the excessive subsistence form, and these can all be downloaded. And we've given you a path to follow so you can find them. But make sure that if they're going to be away from school, that they submit a request for absence form for each person that's attending. So if 10 people are going, please make sure that you have 10 requests for absence forms. And then you need to always find out, do I need a check request? Because what are we saying here? Hey, what if that location does not accept our requisition, which means a purchase order? So then you'll have to do a check request. And then don't forget the excessive subsistence form. And these are what the forms look like. You can find these forms online. Here's a copy of a request for absence form. Here's a copy of the check request. And here's a copy of the excessive subsistence form. And this is how the expense report looks that you'll be completing. If you travel, you need to make sure you complete this. This is just a sample, and we're just giving you some reminders. And here are some budget reminders. Don't forget, mileage reimbursement rate last school year was 57.5 cents per mile. Effective August 1st, 2021, the mileage reimbursement rate will decrease, unfortunately, to 56 cents per mile. And that is based on communication from the IRS. Just remember that we're going to make the adjustments because this rate did take effect in January, so we'll go back and make the adjustments for you. Also, if you should need a two-way radio, make sure that you submit that request to CMS Police Department. Also, if you're doing graphic productions and it's an internal department, your code for that means that you need something, some flyers that you're sending out to the parents to advise them of some things that's going to be happening in your school or your department. That code will be 315. But if you can also use the object code for schools would be 411. Outside printing departments and schools, don't forget to use code 314. Sales tax and credits cannot be moved with a budget transfer. So wait a minute, what do you mean by that? If you look at your budget report and you see that you have a sales tax on there, credit, you cannot move that. You'll have to contact us and we'll gladly do a journal entry for you to make sure that that's taken care of. And you hear us say all the time, ESSA, ESSA, ESSA. That's ESSA. Well, what does that mean? It means Every Student Succeeds Act. Departments will move money to your school to purchase items for your school. This money can only be moved or spent by the department. In other words, you'll get the money, but you can't do a transfer for it, but the department can do it for you. And here are the current travel subsistence rate. If you're going to get breakfast while you're traveling, if you look down here at the bottom, in-state, right now it's $8.60. Lunch is $11.30. Dinner, $19.50, and so on. We put that in yellow at the bottom, so just to remind you that that's what those prices are. Some more things that we need to remember. Don't forget professional support allotment is $6110,312. And then for Fund 9, we're talking about restricted and unrestricted grants. Those are the codes that you would need, and if you need help, give us a call. We'd gladly help you. Budget transfers need to have the approver's fund owner's signature. Well, what does that mean? Before you complete that budget transfer sheet that I showed you, just make sure that they have a signature from the fund owner that those funds can be moved. In food, when we're talking about food, Fund 3, federal, you're going to use the object code 459, other food purchases. All other funds use object code 451 for food purchases. That can seem a little confusing to you. Don't worry about it. If anything I've said has sounded confusing, please know we're here to help you. So just pick up the phone. We're only a phone call away. Don't forget that if you're going to do a purchase order, there are two types. There's a limited purchase order and there's a regular purchase order. Well, what does that mean? Limited purchase order? Well, just try not to go over $750. If it's more than that, we'll help you out. Restaurants without servers, CMS will not pay for tips. Wait a minute, we're not tipping people? Oh, hey, let me tell you what we're talking about. If you go to Chick-fil-A, and they do a great deal, I love them personally, but guess what? You can't tip them. Sorry, we would like to. They do a great job. So we just wanted to say that. And remember, no gift cards. And don't forget to use the check request to reimburse employees It's not allowed if they make a purchase. Also, we just wanted you to know that there are no incentives for teachers for appreciation. We do appreciate our teachers, but unfortunately, they don't allow us to take money and personally give them an incentive. But we do want you to know we appreciate all that you do in teaching our children to learn. And don't forget, staff snacks, refreshments for training, or internal conferences can only be $4.50 per person. And guess what, guys? That also includes a tip. Just wanted you to know that. Hey, don't forget about the mail service. If you're mailing things and you need a purchase, you're going to be using that 342. And once again, we just want to say thank you for all that you do, and we're glad to support you and your teams anytime that you need us. Thanks a lot, and have a great year. Bye.